Hello, this is Paul Chek. Today I thought I'd talk about foods you can carry, nutrition, health, and blood sugar management. Today we're in a fast-moving world and coaching people constantly for many years. One of the most common things I see when I look at food logs when people are coming to me for help is that there is a real tendency to reach for packaged foods, quick foods. Many people I work with are executives that travel a lot and they don't go to airports prepared. They end up on long flights or getting stuck in airports unprepared and end up having to eat garbage. They go to work without bringing food and end up eating from vending machines in a hurry and all sorts of stuff, and they don't often realize that they're actually not saving money, and in the long run they are not saving time either, and they end up spending a huge amount of money for chronic health problems that won't go away, whether it be skin problems, digestive problems, cognitive problems, constipation, inflammation in the body, and the list is very long. So this today is a presentation to show you that to take care of yourself isn't that hard to do, and by taking care of yourself, the way I'm about to share, you are cutting down on the consumption of garbage, chemicals, plastics, and a long list of other things that are toxic to the entire planet, not just to you. So let's just take a quick look at some of the tips that I share with my students, with my clients, and anybody that needs that kind of help about the simple things that we can do that not only give us food, but give us nutrition, which contributes to our health and helps us manage our blood sugar. It is when we don't manage our blood sugar that we end up going into quick crisis modes and reaching for whatever we can get our hands on, and often eating more than we actually need because we're reacting to a blood sugar crisis. So some of the tips I have for you: water. Remember, water, I talked about water in my previous blog, but water is very important. If we don't have enough water on board, then we not only start having mental and emotional problems due to the collapse of our biochemistry, but we also become very toxic. Water is the best solution for pollution, which means, as Rukowski says, the best solution for pollution is dilution, and water is nature's cheap solvent. As I've mentioned in previous blogs, today you can go to camping stores like Adventure 16 and many of these other outdoor camping stores and get very high quality water bottles with excellent filters in them, so you don't have to keep using plastic bottles, and you can filter tap water and have water that is equal to or superior than most of the bottled waters sold, which are really just tap water that's been filtered, most of them anyhow. So the other question we always have to ask ourselves is, are we thirsty or are we hungry? One of the most common misunderstandings from a lack of connection to your body is that when we are thirsty, it's often misunderstood by the brain. It's not that it's the brain's fault, it's our lack of connection to our own instincts. And so thirst is often misinterpreted as hunger. So what you see when people get thirsty or low on water, they tend to eat more food, which actually just clogs them up or more often brings in more toxins and makes things much worse. So if you're hydrated well, you tend to eat less food, which is usually good because the body gets put under a tremendous amount of stress from overeating. It's a long discussion, but it's a problem out there. Now, teas, though they are not water and should never be considered a replacement for water, if you cannot see through the water, then it means it's processed by the body as a food. Even tea has produces what's called solute, which is fine substance in the water. If you drink a cup of tea, often you can see residues of small particles from the tea leaves in the bottom. That's called solute. Anytime there's solute in the water, then it has to go through a digestive process. But we can actually support ourselves when we're on the road, or we might be in a long meeting, by using high quality organic teas. And one of the ones that I recommend my patients and clients and students carry is Yogi Fasting Tea, because it does a very good job of maintaining your blood sugar. So if you're on the road, or you're traveling, or you're going to meetings, if you just keep 5 or 6 bags of Yogi Fasting Tea, as one example, in your briefcase, your purse, or whatever, and you get stuck, and it's a choice between vending machines or garbage food, and just giving your body a break from food for a while, by taking a fasting tea, you keep your blood sugar level, your brain functions quite nicely, it gives your organs a break, it aids your body in having more time to detoxify itself. So it's kind of like a mini fast, and you just get by on a high quality, nutritious tea. So there is that option, but just to reiterate, tea does not replace water, but tea is a great source to give you water. Though it's going to be processed as food, it's still bringing a lot of water in, and if you use a high quality tea, it can stabilize your blood sugar so you don't end up eating things that otherwise wouldn't be ideal or even possibly part of your value structure. Next, we have vegetables. Raw vegetables such as carrots, cucumber, broccoli, cauliflower. There's many of them that carry well, but those are just some of the ones that I use. Carrots are quite durable. When I travel on airplanes, I often take carrot sticks, celery sticks, radishes, chopped peppers like bell peppers and different peppers, and they can last quite a long time out of the refrigerator. I've been on trips that were over 24 hours long and was able to eat my vegetables through the whole trip. Then you're getting, if you're using organic vegetables, you're getting high quality water from the vegetables, and you're getting high quality nutrition from the vegetables. And because the food is raw, you're getting a lot of enzymes, you're getting vitamins, you're getting minerals, you're getting cofactors, you're getting everything it takes in order to activate the physiological process of the body, and it gives you more vitality, more mental clarity, better endurance for working and thinking, all sorts of positives. You can also carry cooked vegetables. They last pretty good as long as there's no flesh ingredients mixed with them. I've had vegetables last easily a full day out of the refrigerator without going bad. So you can essentially take some cooked vegetables, maybe something left over from dinner last night or breakfast, put them in a quality container, and all day long you can carry those with you and eat from them, and rarely ever are you going to run into problems as long as the container is sealed. If you can put an ice block or something in there, all the better. But I'm telling you from lots of experience that cooked vegetables without any meat substances do not rot nearly as quickly, especially if they're organic sourced foods. And then dried vegetables is another option. Today there's high quality companies making organic chips that are things like sweet potatoes, yams, peppers, carrots, all sorts of neat things, kale, that you can take with you. Kale's another great food that travels. Any of those big leaf vegetables like kale, you can carry with you. You can use them in place of bread. If you got a nice big leaf, you can roll things up in it like a burrito, and you're doing really well with that. Then we have soups and packages. There's a number of organic companies out there now making dried soups. All you got to do is add hot water to it, and those things can be carried for long periods of time, weeks, if not months, before you're ever worrying about the quality of them breaking down. And dried soup in a package is from organic substances is probably more nutritious than anything you can get cooked fresh, for example, in an airport from commercially made food using bad oils, and the list goes on. So that's really good, and sometimes it's okay. Like when I go on the road, if there's times where I can't get a hold of meat for a reason, or I have to travel through security on international flights where they have taken my meats away from me. Maybe there was too much fat on them. They thought it was going to blow up in the plane or whatever silliness. then I go on vegetables and I just have a vegetarian day or two, and that's fantastic. It's good to be a little bit more dynamic in your approach to food. We have fruits. You can have fruits that are raw, ideally organic, and dried, and that's readily available, and they travel very, very well. Just be careful with fruits that if you eat a bunch of fruit, it usually jacks your blood sugar right up. And if your blood sugar is up high, then it's going to crash, and then you're going to get real hungry, and then you're going to start falling back into the same trap. And people that aren't conscious about managing their blood sugar tend to yo-yo from periods of decreased blood sugar and hunger to overeating, and then overloading the system, and then decreased, and so they go from empty and crashing to overly full and loading the system up and bogging it down, then to crashing. So the pendulum swings wildly, and you go from hormonal stress to physiological stress to hormonal stress to physiological stress. And if you want to age yourself really quickly, that's certainly one way to go about it. Next, we have nuts. Nuts, as I'm sure all of you know, are very portable, but you do want to soak your nuts for 8 to 12 hours to deactivate the phytic acids, or what are called phytates. Phytic acids block enzyme activity in the gut, so they shut down enzyme activity, so you cannot digest foods properly. Intolerances and food allergies to nuts are by far some of the most common I see in my practice, causing people all sorts of health problems. And nuts are things that people tend in many cultures to overeat in place of these other things that you could eat. So with nuts, you definitely want to soak them to deactivate the phytates. Now, when you soak nuts, you can carry them on a trip, but usually I found soaked nuts aren't going to last more than 2 to 3 days without refrigeration before they start to get moldy, because once you soak them, they germinate and the seed wants to grow. So it actually goes from being a food that's in a state of, shall we say, hibernation to one that's been activated. So the digestive process begins, and if it's not consumed, then a seed that's not in the soil that's activated begins to rot because it doesn't have the resources to grow. So the key point there, if you soak nuts, you can carry them without refrigeration, but I would recommend you don't go any longer than 2 days. Ideally, soaked nuts should be refrigerated. But a tip for you is you can soak the nuts to deactivate the phytates, but then you can put them into a dehydrator and dehydrate them again, and they're not only far easier to digest, but they taste fantastic. I wish I had more tolerance for nuts, but friends of mine and students of mine have offered me their nuts, and one of my favorites used to be almonds, but I overate them and caused a reaction to them, and just haven't returned to them because they typically stress me. But some of my students have dehydrated almonds in brine. Soak them in brine. Brine is salt water, and they put some flavorings in there that are natural. So they deactivate the phytates in the almonds, then they dehydrate them again, and many nuts can do this. But boy, I'll tell you what, you haven't had a tasty dried almond until you've had a soaked nut in a nice brine that's been dehydrated. It's world class. So if I could eat them, believe me, I'd have a lot of them with me as backup. Okay. Next is meats and fish. You can get dried meats, which we usually refer to as jerky. They travel very well and last a long time. And there are now a number of companies out there making great jerky meats. The company that we use for our jerky is US Wellness. Is it uswellness.com?
US Wellness Meats.
US Wellness Meats. Research that. Awesome jerky. Cured and smoked meats, you got to be careful. Cured and smoked meats do have a long shelf life and can last, oftentimes multiple days without refrigeration. But you need to look carefully. If you're not getting that from an organic butcher, you could be getting a lot of chemicals. So if you're going to use cured or smoked meats, you want to make sure that there's no chemicals added. It's just been done with wood fired smoke, and I have found those types of meats many times, and fishes as well. Smoked salmon, for example, is a lovely treat to carry with you on the road. That's far better than most anything you're going to eat in an airport or some restaurant on a corner or a coffee shop, etc. So you also, remember, fish can also be turned into jerky. Salmon jerky is lovely. There's many fish jerkies out there. So you have some really nice options there. Cheeses, if you can handle cheeses, they travel very, very well. So there's a great source of fat and a great source of protein and a great source of nutrition that typically carries quite well and is good for you. Then we have eggs. Boiled eggs do really well on a trip, hard-boiled eggs. You can get by for a fairly decent time without a lot of refrigeration. I've carried hard-boiled eggs with me on trips and been 24 hours on the road without any problem. Again, if you know you're going to travel a long time, you can always, they're going to take ice blocks and things like that from you when you get on an airplane. But what I do is I just ask the flight attendant, could I please have a plastic bag with some ice? I'm carrying my own food and I need to keep it refrigerated. Or you can just carry a plastic bag with you if you don't have ice blocks, and pull it out and go anywhere you can, to any restaurant, anywhere where you can get some ice, which is pretty well available in most places. And you can keep any and all of this cooler by just adding a little bit of ice to it. And then packaging, if you're going to carry food around with you, I recommend using glass, ceramic, or stainless steel containers. Many of the camping stores now sell beautiful little modular sets. I have a set with 3 bowls that fit inside of each other like Russian dolls. They have very high quality clip lock lids that seal so they won't leak all over in the airplanes. You don't want to go to all this effort and then wrap your stuff in plastic and contaminate it with xenoestrogens and other chemicals. So just be conscious that if you're going to make this effort, you want to also use good packaging. These are simple little things that we can make an effort to do that will significantly enhance how much nutrition we're getting, aid our health overall. When you're buying organic foods of any type, you're putting money into the hands of people and corporations that are earth affirmative, earth friendly, so that's wise. And if you're managing your blood sugar effectively by eating nutritious good food, then not only you're adding life to your life, but you're adding stability to your body, your mind, and your emotions, so you can be more productive at anything you do, whether it be work or play. Some resources for you. My book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy, has a lot of relevant information. My audio workbook program, You Are What You Eat, which is 128 pages that I had to extract from the book because it was too long for the average reader, but I thought it was essential information, so I put it into an audio series and a workbook, so it does not duplicate what's in How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy. It adds to it. And then if you want some good training, we have Holistic Lifestyle Coach Level 1, which is designed for the general public. It's now available online, or if you'd like to, if you want to learn from me, I'm the online teacher. If you want to learn from one of my very masterful, highly experienced instructors, you can take that course live. Many people that take the course live want the online training for backup, so you've got it. You can go either way, online and then go live, or live and go online, or either one would do the trick if you feel at peace with that. Thank you very much for joining me today. Look forward to seeing you at one of our advanced training programs at the Chek Institute, so we can take you much deeper into mastery of all these concepts. I will look forward to sharing something exciting and interesting with you on my next blog. I'm Paul Chek. See you soon.